Counsel for the first respondent, Mr. Tony Lithur, today closed his cross-examination of the first witness of the petitioners, Dr. Mahamadu Bawumia, on the election petition brought before the Supreme Court. Tony Lithur, in his cross-examination, quizzed Dr. Bawumia on the 4 categories of irregularities, namely overvoting, voting without biometric verification, non-signing of pink sheets by presiding officers, and duplication of serial numbers, which according to him affected the final results of the 2012 elections. Counsel for the second respondent, the EC, also began his cross-examination of Dr. Bawumia.
Mr. Lithur, in his cross-examination, which began 3 days ago, touched on issues relating to the pink sheet. Dr. Bawumia, in several instances, blamed the second respondent, the EC, for the irregularities that the petitioners are alleging characterized the 2012 elections. On issues relating to overvoting, Dr. Bawumia said the total number of verified votes were not consistent with the total number of votes in some ballot boxes. Mr. Tony Lithur suggested to the witness that some of the pink sheets have no basis to be considered under overvoting. The witness, in his analysis, classified 1,826 polling stations as polling stations where overvoting occurred. He is therefore urging the court to annul vote at these polling stations. Touching on the issue of serial numbers, Counsel for the first respondent also asked Dr. Bawumia whether their polling agents were given any formal training prior to the elections on how to inspect serial numbers. Dr. Bawumia, in his response, said it was the primary responsibility of the second respondent, the EC, to protect the integrity of the voting process and prevent irregularities at polling stations. Thus, there was no need to shift responsibilities on polling agents. Mr. Lithur suggested to Dr. Bawumia that in all the areas that he alleged that serial numbers were duplicated, their polling agents gave their signatures on the pink sheet. Dr. Bawumia, however, said the integrity of the voting process was compromised with the duplication of serial numbers. Mr. Tony Lithur further suggested to the witness that the idea of irregularity is being fabricated to create numbers to challenge the election. Mr. Tony Lithur also raised questions on the allegation of voting without biometric verification. He then tendered in 8 pink sheets indicating that there were no instances that voters were not biometrically verified. According to Dr. Bawumia, 5,335,000 people voted without biometric verification. On non-signing by presiding officers, Mr. Tony Lithur suggested to Dr. Bawumia that it is not true that presiding officers did not sign the pink sheets, since they have in their exhibit pink sheets which indicate that the presiding officers had signed them. Dr. Bawumia explained that they deleted some figures which they are no longer relying on, and those exhibits could be among those deleted. Counsel for the EC, Mr. James Kwashiaidan, shortly after the first recess, began his cross-examination of the first witness for the petitioners, Dr. Bawumia. He quizzed Dr. Bawumia on the voting process, the EC's guidelines for elections, the role of polling agents, and the process of special voting. Other issues that came up were the issue of some 22 polling stations claimed by the MPP that they were ghost polling stations. Mr. Aidan tendered into evidence 5 letters he claimed were from the petitioners to some polling agents to man the 22 polling stations that the petitioners are claiming were ghost polling stations. Spokespersons for the NPP and the NDC spoke to the media.
Today, Mr. Tony Lithur completed his cross-examination. Of course, he bombed the witness with several documents to undermine his claim that there have been a whole lot of irregularities and whatever about on the 5 or so issues that they raised. That's the want of verification, biometric verification, overcount, and all that. You know, it was absolutely clear that, you know, more and more, it's getting very clear, more and more by the minute and by the day, that the claims are bare claims, but we'll leave that to the court to decide ultimately.
Whether or not our case has been discredited, whether or not they have succeeded in punching holes in our case, whether or not the witness is credible, whether or not the witness's evidence is reliable, these are all matters before the court that the court has to decide the case on. And therefore, it is not the place of anybody, be it a party or counsel on the team of lawyers representing either the petitioners or respondents, be it in court or outside of court. I can only say we are on solid ground. I will leave the rest to the court as the rules require.
Hearing is adjourned to tomorrow.